There's a moment, somewhere around the time your hair starts to thin and your knees start to creak, when you realize something profound. Life doesn't speed up. It doesn't slow down. It just keeps moving. And the only thing you truly get to control is how you carry yourself through it. But here's the secret most people won't tell you. Peace isn't something you stumble into. It's something you carve out of the chaos, something you protect. And to find it, especially as we age, you've got to let go of a few things you might have clung to for decades. Not everyone's ready for that. Some people fight the idea with everything they've got. They double down on stubbornness. They tighten their grip on the past. They spend their twilight years angry, bitter, and exhausted, all while wondering why nothing feels right. But not you. You're here because a part of you knows better. You've seen too much, lived through enough, and you're done wasting your days on habits that drain you. Let's start with the first one, and it's a big one. Holding grudges. Now I know some people don't deserve forgiveness. Some wounds cut deep. They weren't fair. They weren't your fault. Maybe they came from a family member who betrayed you, a friend who disappeared when you needed them most, or a partner who left scars you still carry. I'm not here to excuse what they did. I'm not here to tell you to pretend it didn't happen. But I am here to tell you this. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and hoping the other person gets sick. It doesn't work. It never has. All it does is weigh you down. It turns quiet mornings bitter. It makes your heart race when it should rest. It plays old arguments on repeat in your head, like a bad radio station you can't turn off. And worst of all, it keeps you stuck in a moment that's already passed. A moment you survived. A moment you were strong enough to live through, even if it hurt like hell. So let it go, not for them, for you. Because peace isn't about forgetting. It's about choosing to stop reliving the pain. It's about freeing up that space in your mind, your body, your soul for something better. Joy, stillness, laughter, maybe even love. Some people say, but if I let go, they win. No. If you let go, you win. You stop letting what they did control who you are now. So if you've got names that pop into your head and make your stomach twist, it might be time to do the bravest thing you've done in a while. Set them down. Walk away. And don't look back. Now, let's talk about the second habit. Living for the approval of others. You'd think by 60 or 70 that one would be gone. But oh, it lingers. And it's sneaky. Maybe it shows up when you second-guess what you're wearing because you're afraid someone will say you look too old for it. Maybe it hits when you're about to say something honest, but you bite your tongue because you don't want to ruffle feathers. Maybe it's been there your whole life. You learned to keep the peace. Be agreeable. Don't cause a scene. Don't speak too loudly. Don't take up too much space. But let me ask you something. If not now, then when? If you can't live freely now, when will you? You don't owe anyone the watered-down version of yourself. You don't have to smile when something makes you mad. You don't have to nod when you disagree. And you definitely don't have to keep living for everyone else's expectations. Do you know what happens when you finally stop caring what other people think? You breathe. Deeper than you have in years. You laugh louder. You say what you mean. You dance in the kitchen without checking the window. And maybe for the first time in a long while, you remember who you are. Not the version shaped by pressure or politeness, but the real you. The one who knows what she likes, who he is, what makes her heart light up. Other people's opinions don't get to be the steering wheel of your life anymore. They can be passengers. Maybe, but you're the driver now. And if someone doesn't like the road you've chosen, let 'em get out. Peace loves company, but it doesn't beg for it. So here's your permission slip to stop apologizing for how you live. Start saying no when you mean it. Start saying yes when it's what you want. Start letting your voice rise like it's meant to. Because quiet doesn't always mean kind, and being bold doesn't make you rude. It makes you honest, and honest people sleep better at night. The third habit? Carrying the weight of things you can't control. This one's tricky, because it feels like responsibility, like love, like duty. But it's none of those things. Worrying about your grown kids who don't listen? That's not love. That's stress pretending to be love. Obsessing over politics you can't change, health scares that haven't happened yet, or the past mistakes of others. That's anxiety dressing up as awareness. We're taught to stay informed, stay involved, stay ready for the worst. But the truth is, your nervous system wasn't built to carry every burden in the world, especially not now. You've earned peace, you've earned the right to say, that's not mine to carry. And I know it's hard, because some of us were raised to be fixers. We see a mess, we want to clean it up. We see someone hurting, we want to rush in and heal them. But there's a difference between love and overfunctioning, between care and control. You can love someone deeply and still let them learn the hard way. You can care about the world and still choose to protect your peace. You can be a kind, thoughtful, wise person and still draw a big, bold line around your sanity. There's this old saying, let go or be dragged. Most people get dragged, through arguments that aren't theirs, through fears that never come true, through situations that would have worked out fine if they'd just stepped back. So maybe it's time to do something radical. Lay it down. Not because you don't care, but because you care too much to keep burning out. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to fix every problem. You don't have to watch the news every hour or call that relative who never calls back. You just have to live. And living, real living, means knowing where your edges are. It means knowing what's yours and what isn't, what helps and what hurts. So if you're carrying someone else's crisis, maybe ask yourself this: are they carrying yours? If not, it might be time to let go of what was never yours to begin with. These three habits, holding grudges, chasing approval, and carrying too much, they steal your time. They steal your stillness. They steal the parts of life you're supposed to enjoy. And you've got too many good mornings left to waste them. But here's the thing. Letting go isn't just a decision. It's a practice. It's waking up every day and choosing again. Choosing peace over drama. Choosing rest over worry. Choosing joy over resentment. And if that sounds hard, good. It means you're doing something that matters. Because peace isn't found. It's built. One choice at a time. So now that we've put those three habits on the table, let's talk about what happens when you actually leave them behind. There's a strange silence at first. You stop reacting so fast. You stop checking your phone for apologies that never come. You stop thinking about that one conversation from 10 years ago that still plays in your head like it's fresh. And in that quiet, something new starts to grow. You feel lighter. Not because your problems are gone, but because you're finally not dragging the past into every room you enter. It's like taking off a coat you didn't realize you were wearing. One that was 10 sizes too heavy. One that belonged to someone else. And now, your shoulders can finally drop. That's what peace feels like. But don't be surprised if not everyone understands. Some people might say you've changed, that you're not as available, that you've grown distant. Let them. You're not meant to be available to chaos. You're not meant to be a sponge for other people's messes. You're allowed to protect your time, your energy, your soul. Because here's the truth no one says out loud. Growing older is not just about survival. It's about refinement. It's not about proving yourself anymore. It's about choosing yourself. So maybe you start saying no to things that used to guilt you. Maybe you cancel that lunch with someone who only talks about themselves. Maybe you finally take that afternoon nap and don't feel guilty for a second. Good. That's not selfish. That's sacred. Let's talk about how to replace those old habits with something better. If you're done holding grudges, start planting grace. Not just for others, for yourself too, because you've made mistakes. We all have. And maybe they've followed you like shadows, whispering lies about who you are. But you are not your worst moment. You are not your biggest regret. You are someone who lived, who tried, who stumbled, and got back up. Someone who carried others when no one noticed. Someone who stayed quiet to keep the peace. Someone who didn't always know how to love, but never stopped trying. So show yourself the same grace you wish others had shown you. That means not beating yourself up for things you can't change. That means looking in the mirror and seeing someone worthy, not someone worn out. And when it comes to others, grace doesn't mean you have to invite them back into your life. It just means you stop letting their actions own space in your heart. Wish them well. Then move on. Next, if you're done living for approval, start listening to your own voice again. Ask yourself what you want, not what your kids expect, not what your friends think is age appropriate, not what society says is dignified for someone your age. What do you want? To start painting again? Do it. To move to a quieter town? Start packing. To wear bright colors and red lipstick even if someone side-eyes you in the grocery store? Go ahead and strut. You don't need permission to be yourself. And you certainly don't need applause. Sometimes joy is private. Sometimes it's found in the quiet moments when no one's watching. And finally, if you're done carrying what isn't yours, start choosing peace on purpose. Turn off the news if it's stressing you out. Skip the gossip call if it leaves you drained. Say no to drama, even if it's dressed up like concern. Protect your peace like it's gold, because it is. Start your mornings slowly. Stretch before you get out of bed. Breathe in something good. Maybe it's the smell of coffee. Maybe it's the light coming through the window. Maybe it's just the fact that you woke up. You woke up, that alone is a gift. Let that be your anchor. Spend more time in nature, even if it's just your backyard. Watch the birds. Let the wind touch your skin. Remember that the world is still beautiful, even when people forget to say so. And be around people who make you laugh. People who ask how you're doing and mean it. People who don't drain you, but fill you. You don't need a crowd. A few real ones will do just fine. Now here's something important. When you start living this way, something funny happens. You stop looking back so much. Regret loses its grip. Bitterness fades like an old photograph. Even fear doesn't bark so loud. Because when you're at peace, you stop needing everything to go your way. You stop controlling. You stop defending. You stop performing. You just live. And in that stillness, something powerful rises. Call it wisdom. Call it spirit. Call it whatever you like. But it's real. It's the way your eyes soften when you listen. It's the way your laugh lines tell stories of joy, even after sorrow. It's the way you stop chasing and start receiving. That's the kind of peace no one can take from you. Now, you might be thinking, what if it's too late? Too late to change. Too late to heal. Too late to start over. Let me tell you something. If you're breathing, it's not too late. I don't care if you're 70 or 85. If your body's slowing down, if you've buried more friends than you can count, if the calendar is flipping faster than ever, you are still here. And that means you still get to choose how the story ends. Not with bitterness, not with regret, but with clarity, with softness, with the kind of joy that doesn't need fireworks to feel powerful. So here's a little challenge for you. A small one, but powerful. Today, just for today, catch yourself. Catch yourself before the bitterness creeps in. Before the old grudge grabs the wheel. Before you say yes when your gut is screaming no. Catch yourself and choose different. Choose peace. Choose softness. Choose truth. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be present. And if tomorrow you slip up, that's all right. Start again. Because peace isn't a destination. It's a habit. One breath at a time. And I promise you this. Every time you choose it, it gets a little easier, a little lighter, a little sweeter. You might not notice it at first, but one day you'll wake up and realize something feels different. There's more room in your chest, more quiet in your mind, more love in your mornings. And when someone asks how you're doing, you won't have to fake it. You'll say, honestly, I'm good. And you'll mean it. Not because life is perfect, but because you let go of what was never meant to stay. You laid down the weight. You stopped chasing shadows. You found peace not by accident, but on purpose. So if no one's told you lately, let me be the one. You're allowed to live light. You're allowed to live true. You're allowed to live free. And if this hit home for you, if you found even a whisper of truth in these words, then maybe stick around. Because this channel is here to remind you of what matters. Drop your city in the comments if you're watching from somewhere peaceful or somewhere you wish felt more peaceful. And if you're ready to keep carving out the life you really want, you know where to find us. We're just getting started.